before you guys go, I was going to ask you guys something. So, picture this. It's the 1850s, mid-1850s. There's this new country that's about to be formed. It's called Canada. It's giving away massive parcels of land out west. As much land as you want for free. You're just some European guy. You used to be a shoemaker. How are you supposed to live out here? How are you supposed to build a house? I don't know how to build a house. So, you just do what you can. Start chopping down trees. You start moving things around. You just build a little box for you and your family. You and your wife have to pump out like 6-7 kids because you need to start working this land. You need to live. You need to be able to feed yourself. And so what do you end up with? You built this, on average, 888 square foot house. You have 6.29 people living in it. You, your wife, and 4 kids on average. That's 141 square feet per person. You know, that's not bad. That's like a 14 foot by 10 foot space. That's like a bedroom. You know, that's not bad. You're all working the land. You're an opportunity maker. You started a new life for your family because you were promised this massive opportunity in Canada. 1908 pulls in. Ford invents the Model T car, and that is starting to explode in popularity. This is when radio became a huge thing, and it started to become widely adopted in, I think, like the 20s or the 30s. The Sears company creates a catalog, and you can see that you can buy homes now for $2,000. They just ship you all this wood. All you need to get is nails and concrete, and you got yourself a house? $2,000. That's like 4 years of salary. I can afford that. Come 1910, because of these kit homes, now the average house is 945 square feet. And now, because we're becoming more economically prosperous, we don't need to have as many kids anymore. We only have about 4.8 people per household now in this 945 square foot house. We're now sitting at a healthy 197 square feet per person. That's like 20 feet by 10 feet. That's a 20-foot shipping container. That's bigger than a 20-foot shipping container. And now comes the massive, massive boom. What we call the baby boom. That comes after the Great Depression. That comes after World War II. Once all this capital didn't need to be funneled into killing everybody, we had all this spare time, we had all of this spare capital, we had all this spare manpower, and we put it into building homes. Cars are now massively abundant. Everybody has a car. It's the new cool thing to have. You know what that means? Developers don't have to buy plots of land in the city. We can now move 30 kilometers outside of the city and still be able to commute to work. Everyone has a car. The suburb was created. So now developers can provide massive plots of land per person. They can build bigger houses. Things are cheap. Things are easy to build. Technology is advancing like crazy. We hit a new boom, a new baby boom. We're having more babies than ever before. From the 1920s to the 1940s, fertility rates just kept dropping and dropping. No one wanted to have kids inside of this insane world that we were living in. Things were unaffordable. People were starving to death. People were going off to war. Why would they want to have kids? But come the end of the Second World War, we had this massive baby boom. And now, having been able to build houses bigger than ever before, we're sitting at 1,100 square feet on average in Canada, with about 3.9 people living in it. That's about 282 square feet per person. Now that's getting pretty big. 28 feet by 10 feet, 282 square feet per person. In less than 100 years, we went from 141 square feet per person and doubled it. Now we're starting to see a pattern. We're getting bigger and bigger houses with less and less people living in it. And it only gets worse from here. We all know where this is leading to. The average house size in Canada is now 1,948 square feet. And not only that, because we become so economically prosperous, people aren't having kids the same. There's about 2.51 people living per household. That's you, your partner, and maybe one kid. Maybe 50-50 chance. 1,948 square feet. 2.51 people per household. That's 776 square feet per person. That is almost the same amount as an entire house just like 150 years ago. That is 5 times more than the 1850s. That's 4 times more than the 1910s with the Sears catalog kit homes. That's 3 times more than arguably the most economically prosperous time in Canadian history, the 1960s. Our grandparents, some of our parents, had 3 times less space than we do today. What the fuck? No wonder we're in an unaffordability crisis. And none of this was intentional, but we've been slowly shifting our expectations of our housing. For years and years, every generation we expect that little bit more, and it's come to a point where the system has collapsed. And now we're at this point where we've done 50 years of building these massive houses that are way too big. The material costs now are exorbitantly expensive, and they're all just sitting there now. We can't unbuild them, they've already been built. So now we think 2 people are supposed to afford the, on average, biggest houses on record with the highest material cost in history, and we're supposed to be able to afford that. So let's take a second and really visualize what I'm saying here. Using a queen bed as reference, where each square in this grid is 1 square foot, this is what a house in 1855 would look like. A little tight for sure, especially taking into consideration you need to fit your portion of the kitchen area, the bathroom, living space, all that jazz. Hopping 50-ish years forward, and things are definitely getting better. I still think a bit tight in my opinion, but I think something this size could be doable. Now here's where things really start ramping up though. This is how much space you would have gotten in the 1960s. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Look at all this floor space. So many aerobics in here, so many activities.
So now, pushing another 50-ish years in the future, things have just gotten out of hand. Take a look at the space we get per person in a house built today. What the hell is even going on? What are you supposed to do with a space like this? Across Canada's relatively short history, we went from houses this big, to this, and now this. So if we agree now that we have way too much space, then this natural question just emerges from that, which is, how much space do we need? And after living in various different size spaces over the years, from my parents' basement suite to a 181 square foot studio apartment to our van for 8 months, we've landed on this being the perfect size for us. Our 33-foot park model trailer, pretty much completely stripped down and renovated from the ground up, with a front patio and an outdoor shower to boot. Mind you, on top of this, we do have about 900 square feet of garden space, and we do have a shed that we use to store my tools and my bike and my golf clubs, extra wood for projects, that kind of stuff. We don't really need the garden, that's more of like a passion project sort of thing, but we really don't have the space in here to accommodate all the things that we need to store. So adding up, the 330 square foot trailer, the deck, the outdoor shower, and the shed, we've come up to about 600 square feet. Divide that into 2, that's 300 square foot per person. A little bit more than the 1960s. And you know what? This seems reasonable to me. I'm not trying to insinuate that we should all live tinier, that we need to go back in time and live like we did in the 1910s. These 600 square feet allow us an outdoor recreation space, a giant desk to work on, a book nook, an entire separate bedroom, and a storage shed. All I'm trying to ask is, what is the minimum viable product for comfortable modern living? And I think that this is it. Culturally, I think Gen Zs and millennials have had our ears perked up to this kind of idea for quite a while. The van life and tiny home movement have been going strong for 10, 15, maybe even 20 years, and it's just growing every single year. You can see so many different tours and how-tos and DIYs for all this kind of stuff. It is such a huge cultural movement in our generations. We've all been asking ourselves this question since we entered adulthood, and we realized that the system has completely fucked us. So here's the big issue. These giant modern homes, they're already kind of here. We've been building these McMansions for decades now. But if we can all agree that we only need about 300 square feet per person, then the obvious solution is we go splitsies. Would you think about co-living together and finding a way to actually make that work? Given the average modern home size, we could theoretically fit 7-ish people per home instead of the 2.51 average like I said earlier. We all know that it's extremely expensive to live where you guys live. Based on data from the Canadian Real Estate Association, the average home price in Canada right now is $696,000. Imagine if instead of one nuclear family having to front the cost of that entire mortgage, imagine if 3 nuclear families tried to front the cost for that. So now that brings down each family's shared value of this home down to $232,000-ish. That is way more reasonable to me than $696,000. That's unbelievable. And not only is sharing homes financially doable, but socially more doable as well. If you haven't been living under a rock, there are countless studies and video explanations pointing to Gen Z being the loneliest generation to date. And I would say that it could be due to countless reasons. Our full immersion into the digital world with things like social media doom scrolling and online dating, multiplayer video games. It could be the ongoing destruction of third places. Or it could be our decentralization of information and news. Something as simple as all of us not watching the same TV shows at the same time because we don't have to anymore. It's not just there's one thing going on right now and that's the thing that the entire world is watching. Imagine if you could go to work and you could just talk about the TV that was on last night. You could say, oh, did you watch Seinfeld? Did you watch that episode? There's such a good chance that they've seen it because there's such a limited supply of entertainment. Whereas now it's so vast and we're so decentralized from one another that there's almost no chance that we watch the same things unless we're in the same room together. So you go to work and you say, oh, I was watching Severance. Have you seen Severance? No, don't have Apple TV. Oh, okay. Have you seen Stranger Things? No, don't have Netflix. We're so decoupled from each other nowadays that it's sad. It's really sad. That one little piece of relatability is completely gone in our culture. And now we have Netflix and Prime and Paramount and HBO and all this shit. We now have access to whatever we want, whenever we want, on demand. I'm usually pretty pro technology, but we are so culturally dislocated. And maybe it would just be nice to turn back the clock a little bit and remember that being a person is really just the experience you have with other people. We are social in nature, and we've replaced that social nature with dopamine fixing alone at home. 15% of Canadians live completely alone. Who's going to help you move your couch? Who's going to help you hang a picture on the wall? Who's going to cook with you or help you when you're feeling overwhelmed? This is not normal, you know? Like, what we've done as a society is pretty brand new. Like, this is like 100 years old. Before, we used to live with so many more people. Like, how were we expected to work full-time jobs and have kids and have to do your laundry and cook meals and keep care of yourself and stay healthy and exercise and have a balanced social life? Like, how are we all expected to do that? We've built ourselves into this modern burden. We're expected to commute to work full-time, cook healthy meals, clean and maintain a house, maintain friendships, stay fit, keep our cars in one piece, all alone. Like, of course there's Uber Eats and DoorDash. Of course we're all experiencing burnout. Of course there's this massive boom in convenience culture. And that right there is the power of shared living. It redistributes the load of life onto everybody equally. Some people are great cooks. Let them cook. Some people genuinely love cleaning and organizing their homes. Let them do that. Some people are great with kids. Let them take care of the kids. Some people are electricians or car mechanics or teachers or community builders. We don't have to form ourselves to fit inside of our modern individualistic societies. We can choose to live together. I could get more into detail about how we could all go about doing this, how we could all go about doing this shared living, co-living situation, have that be a land trust or a housing co-op, or just simply splitting a mortgage with you and your friends and family. And maybe that's for another video in the future. But that's not up to me to decide what's best for you and your community. So I'll leave you a little bit of room to do your own research. But I will leave you with this. As American author and cultural anthropologist Margaret Mead said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed individuals can change the world. In fact, it's the only thing that ever has." So, what do you guys think?